Grand Theft Auto is one of, if not the most popular gaming franchise on the planet, with each and every individual title in the franchise selling millions upon millions of copies, as well as being genre-defining games that are truly innovative in every sense of the word. And with over a dozen games in the franchise, the question of which is the best GTA game always comes up in any discussion pertaining to the series as a whole. Most fans tend to list any of the mainline games such as GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, 4, or even 5 as being the best in the franchise. But I'm not here to talk about which game is the best because this video will most likely be 10 times longer than it already is, and I don't want to waste your time. Instead, I'll be taking a look at a pair of games in the franchise that are often overlooked and underappreciated due to coming out after their trio of beloved predecessors, who revolutionized open world gaming for the better. I'm of course referring to GTA Liberty City Stories and GTA Vice City Stories, which both released for the PSP just a year apart in 2005 and 2006 respectively, but were later ported over to the PS2, which are the versions of these games that I'll be playing and reviewing for this video. Liberty City Stories was the first to be released of the two and takes place 3 years before the events of GTA 3 and follows Tony Cipriani, who has just made his way back into Liberty City after laying low for a while after he killed a very important member of a rival crime family under the orders of Don Salvatore Leone, who he spent most of the game working for. There's also various other returning characters that you'd be working alongside, such as Maria, Donald Love, and 8-Ball. Every character from GTA Vice City even makes a cameo here before you have to whack them. Since LCS takes place 3 years before GTA 3, Liberty City itself looks very different in certain places, such as Fort Staunton being a regular neighborhood instead of one big construction site, as well as various other tunnels and bridges still undergoing construction or being blocked off for use entirely.
You're gonna need everything this piece of shit's got. Punch it, Tony. Oh, shit!
It's really cool that you're showing how various parts of the city end up the way they do in GTA 3 during the events of this game, with a prime example of the previously mentioned Fort Staunton becoming one giant construction zone because of Tony planting several bombs in all the tunnels underneath the area, which creates one massive explosion. Getting around the city is much easier than it was in GTA 3 because there's an actual in-game map included here, so if you ever need to set a little waypoint marker or simply see how far you are from your destination, then you can easily do so by just pausing the game. While we're still on the topic of Liberty City, I have to mention how different it feels from the way it's portrayed in GTA 3. In that game, Liberty City was this really dark, crime-ridden hellhole, and in LCS it kinda feels like the opposite to me. The atmosphere here is much warmer and lighter in a way that I can't fully describe, to be honest. I think that more so has to do with the weather. It's less dark and cloudy and sunny more often than not. That's not to say that the weather in GTA 3 was devoid of any sunny weather, it just wasn't as prevalent there as opposed to here, and I think that's because LCS actually takes place during the summer if I'm not mistaken, and GTA 3 takes place sometime in the fall or winter. The gameplay here is pretty solid for the most part. Navigating your way through Liberty City is much easier than it was in GTA 3, but unlike that game, you can actually drive around on motorcycles. There was actually this weird in-game explanation for why there weren't any bikes in GTA 3. Apparently there's this group of people called the American Road Safety for Everybody, or ARS for short, who wants to ban all forms of two-wheel transportation, including non-motor vehicles such as regular bicycles, because, quote, motorcycles cause more deaths per year than old age. They are the #1 killer in our city and must be banned. So I guess the war between all these different gangs in the city just doesn't exist, huh? They're really gonna blame the death of all these innocent people on motorcycles? It's honestly a stupid yet very comical explanation that only a game franchise such as GTA could get away with. The act of stealing cars and driving around is largely the same as it was in previous games, with the only difference being that cars can take more damage instead of catching on fire as soon as you bump into another car or random object. And you can still perform drive-bys here, but the NPCs that drive with you in certain missions can assist you in doing so like they would in San Andreas, which is such a big missed opportunity because there's a lot of missions that would benefit from having a useful mechanic like this. Something else that bothers me about this game is that you can't fly in any planes or helicopters. I know that LCS isn't a big console game like its predecessors and was made primarily for the PSP, which meant that they had to make some sacrifices in order for it to be playable on a handheld device. But I wish that you can fly around in helicopters and other planes, since Liberty City is a cool setting, and flying high in the sky amongst the various skyscrapers and seeing the whole entire city from a bird's eye view would make for a very unforgettable experience. When you first start the game, you'll only have access to a handful of weapons such as a pistol and micro SMG, but we'll unlock more and more heavy hitters such as the M14 and rocket launcher as you progress. Using these weapons aren't half bad, especially since you have the option to manually aim, with the only downside being that you can't move while doing so. In certain missions, such as the ones where you have to operate some sort of turret or machine gun from a first person perspective, can be pretty difficult because of how slow the reticle moves from side to side. One of this game's biggest flaws lies in the difficulty. It tends to fluctuate back and forth a lot more than some of the other games in the series. For example, there might be one mission where you have to go to some place and fight some guys who are armed with pistols or light SMGs. But then in the very next mission, you're facing off against guys who are armed to the teeth with powerful assault rifles who have marksman-like aim. And for some reason they have damn near infinite ammo. Like, these guys rarely have to reload their weapons and will kill you with just about a dozen shots. Another thing that bugs me is that you can't swim. I'm not sure why that wasn't implemented here, since you could do so in the previous game, which was San Andreas. I'm assuming this was purposely done in order to make this game feel very similar to GTA 3, but on a much smaller scale. And I think that is what holds Liberty City stories back from being truly great. It doesn't do anything new, or at the very least implement pre-existing mechanics and other small features from previous games, such as swimming, flying in helicopters, gang warfare, or owning assets and running multiple businesses. As I said earlier, LCS is basically GTA 3 but just on a PSP because of how very similar it is to that game. There really isn't anything it does to set itself apart from GTA 3 besides having much better shooting, an in-game map, and an absolute banger of a soundtrack. That opening theme is definitely in my top 5 best theme songs in the whole entire franchise. I also don't really find the game's overall plot and characters to be interesting as well, especially Tony himself, since he just feels like a generic Italian mobster. Don't get me wrong, he's a very likable character who's tough and loyal to those around him, but I just don't find him to be all that interesting or memorable as a character. I think my reasoning for feeling the way I do about LCS as a whole simply boils down to the fact that I played Vice City Stories first, which provides a great console-like experience but just on a handheld device. Playing that then coming back to this just felt like a huge downgrade in my opinion. Liberty City Stories isn't a bad game at all. I actually found it to be pretty enjoyable for the most part, and I can appreciate it for being the first true, keyword true, handheld GTA experience. And because of that alone, I think it deserves a lot more praise and recognition. GTA Vice City Stories released just a year after Liberty City Stories and serves as a prequel to Vice City, and follows Victor Vance, an honorable soldier who joined the military in order to provide for his dysfunctional family. But when he gets busted while doing some dirty work for his crooked superior officer, he's discharged from the military and continues to fall deeper into the dangerous criminal underworld of drug trafficking. On the surface level, VCS may not seem like much, but it's really underrated. Unlike LCS, it brings back some much needed mechanics such as swimming, which was something that was missing in Vice City. I'm surprised it was even included here to begin with, because the devs could have easily came up with some weird in-game explanation as to why you couldn't, such as the water being polluted due to toxic oil spills, hence why the water in Liberty City is dark and dirty, or killer sharks swimming around in the beautiful waters of Vice City. I'm really glad this mechanic made it into the game, because there's lots of missions where you have to drive boats and fly over the ocean for long periods of time, and if you weren't able to swim, that'd just be one huge pain in the ass. You know what else is a huge pain in the ass? The way the tires on every single vehicle pops. The APCs here have marksman-like aim and will pop all of your car tires very easily whenever you're driving. It's even more annoying when you're going about your business and a gang speeds past you and does a drive-by. I swear, this always catches me off guard. But I kind of like this though, because it shows that the NPCs here are actually intelligent and are more than just mindless drones who will do anything to kill you. One of my criticisms for LCS was that the NPCs couldn't perform drive-bys alongside of you, but luckily VCS fixes this issue. There's lots of missions here where you have to escort other characters from one part of the city to another, and oftentimes they'll help you out immensely by blowing up anyone that gets near you, which goes to show that a little extra firepower always makes a difference. The return of businesses is perhaps the best part of the gameplay here by far, because it combines the assets from Vice City and gang warfare from San Andreas. There are several types of different businesses you can start, each with their own specific purpose and amount of pay, such as loan shark, prostitution, protection racket, drugs, and smuggling. Acquiring these businesses are pretty easy. All you have to do is go to any business of your choice and blow up the vehicle outside of it, which will then cause the gang that owns that business to attack you, and once you kill all of them, you'll be given some money and the option to choose which type of business you want to start, and you're also given the choice as to what the size of it would be, such as small, medium, and large venture. These businesses act as your main source of income, since the mission payouts in this game are terrible, so it's important that you do your best to maintain them. If you do, then you'll be raking upwards to $10,000 or more a day. As cool as the act of empire building in this game is, it does come with its fair share of ups and downs. The pros to running these businesses are that you make a lot of money, and they'll save you a lot of time since you can always save your progress at any business, and each of them comes with their own unique personal vehicle. The biggest con to running this empire of yours is that your businesses will come under attack very often, up until the point where it'll interfere with your ability to get through the main story missions. And what sucks is that whenever a business is under attack, it's always one that's halfway across the goddamn map. I don't know about y'all, but I tend to just allow those businesses to be destroyed since I don't want to waste time driving all over the place. And it's not like you have to pay a whole lot of money to repair the damages, only like $500, which kinda makes these attacks feel rather inconsequential. VCS's soundtrack is comprised of a lot of great songs from the 80s, from artists such as Phil Collins, Depeche Mode, A Flock of Seagulls, Laura Branigan, Foreigner, The Cure, and Hall & Oates, just to name a few. If I had to choose my favorite radio station, it'd most definitely be Fresh 105 FM, with Wave 103 and Flash FM not too far behind. I'm not really a big fan of old school hip hop from the 80s since a lot of it just hasn't aged well, but DJ Luke is one of the funniest radio hosts in all of GTA. He's always roasting his listeners and even takes shots at other radio stations in the most vulgar ways imaginable.
I'm the #1 disc jockey because I got some motherfucking fat ass Oliver Lady Killer Biscuit trying to buy the fucking radio station. Let me tell you one thing, Oliver, you could try your fat ass hard out and try to buy this bitch. You can't buy it because you ain't got enough fucking money and you got enough nuts to buy this bitch. Yo, go suck a dick. You can't buy this radio station.
And to say that the guy that's voicing him is hamming it up is an understatement, to say the least.
Just don't understand. Vice City, Vice bitches, Club Malibu. I'm going there next. Let's go.
There's one song that's featured here that I believe is the best out of the entire soundtrack, and that's I Wanna Know What Love Is by Foreigner, because it embodies what the overall theme of the game is, with that theme being one of love. Vic joined the military to protect and provide for his family, a family that is far from perfect, with his mother being a drug addict and his father presumably dead or abandoning him altogether. One of his brothers is also suffering from an unknown medical condition that's expensive to treat, and his other brother, who just happens to be Lance, who was last seen in Vice City, is way too deep in the dangerous world of drugs. Even after getting kicked out of the military, Vic still tries his damn hardest to keep his family together despite how dysfunctional they are, because he loves them, including his terrible mother.
Oh, shit. What? It's gone.
What?
And Mom's stuff is gone, too. Oh, Mom. Lance, ain't that a bitch? I can't believe she took our coat.
Vic also meets a woman by the name of Louise Cassidy, who just so happens to be Phil Cassidy's sister. Vic grows very close to Louise over the course of the story, and their relationship starts off great, but because he is so busy building his empire and dealing drugs with other powerful people all over the city, a pair of which him and Lance unknowingly rip off, him and Luis grow further apart for a good chunk of the story, which is further exacerbated when Vic suspects her of sleeping with Lance.
Luis, what the hell is going on?
Well, bro. Hey, bro, it ain't nothing like that.
I wouldn't do that to you. I just needed something to take my mind off things.
So you fucked my brother?
No! We just get high together. God damn, you are so judgmental, like you're a damn saint or something. Why are you being such an asshole?
You are a mess.
And you're wonderful. A wonderful drug-dealing, thieving murderer.
Come on, guys.
I was doing it for us.
Who you trying to kid? You don't give a shit about me.
Not now, I don't.
You know what? You make me want to puke, you self-righteous dick!
Ah, get lost!
By the time the two of them have rekindled their relationship, Luis is unfortunately killed, leaving Vic utterly heartbroken and devastated. Not only because of that, but because he's also realized that his actions have led him down a path for which there is no return. No matter how hard he tries to free himself from this life of crime that he finds himself in, he'll never be able to wash his hands clean of all the bad things he's done. Vic is such an underrated protagonist. He's flawed yet very relatable. He's constantly doing what he thinks is right, but the way he goes about it is all wrong, and people are always calling him out for that. And I like that he takes accountability for his actions and admits that he's not the hero that he makes himself out to be, which shows how much he's truly developed as a character.
Bendis is downtown. His place is like a fortress. But this baby, she'll tear the whole building down.
Great! When I'm done, we're done. Lance and I will owe you nothing.
When you're done, I'm gonna own this town. It's the American dream. And it's all because of you, Vic. You're a hero.
No, I'm an asshole. I spent all my time running around, making morons rich, while my family fell apart and the woman I wanted died waiting for me to call.
What sucks the most about Vic as a character is that his story has such a tragic ending because he gets killed in the opening cutscene of Vice City. That guy that Tommy meets up with to buy drugs from is actually Vic. Rockstar confirmed that themselves a long time ago. What's weird is that he sounds so much different here because he doesn't have an American accent. And he also looks much older, like he's in his 50s, which is even weirder since Vice City only takes place 2 years after VCS.
I think we have a deal, my friend. Oh, shit!
I'm pretty sure this guy turned out to be Vic all along was a last minute decision during VCS's development. But for me personally, Vic's story began and ended in VCS because he deserved a much better ending than what he got in Vice City. He's been through so much, and to have him be killed off in some random drug deal just seems kind of cheap.
Oh shit!
GTA Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories are great games, but I wouldn't go as far as calling them underrated because they were critical and commercially successful when they first came out back in the day, and lots of people still make videos praising them to this very day. I find them to be very underappreciated because they're not nearly given as much credit for what they were able to achieve, which was basically giving players a console-like experience similar to that of its predecessors, even though they cut some corners. LCS suffers the most from this because it cut out basic yet integral parts of the games that came before it, such as flying helicopters, owning businesses, participating in some form of gang warfare, or swimming at the very least. That's why I prefer VCS over LCS, because it feels like I'm playing Vice City and San Andreas, but on a much smaller scale, if that makes sense. And as I said earlier in the video, LCS just feels like GTA 3 all over again because it doesn't do anything new or put a new spin on an already existing idea or any features or mechanics to truly set itself apart from that game. The thing that sets VCS apart from Vice City is its great story and its unique approach to empire building. Even if micromanaging each individual business becomes a pain in the ass as time goes on due to them constantly coming under attack. But what do you guys think? Do you agree that these games are underappreciated gems? Do you think they're underrated even though people such as myself still talk about them? Do you think that I'm being too harsh on Liberty City Stories? I don't think it's a bad game, I just prefer to play Vice City Stories over it anytime, to be honest. And with that being said, thanks for watching. And as always, I hope to catch you guys in the next video. Peace.